Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, good morrow. How are you, Diane?
All right.
This is episode 27 of Rock the Cash Bar. Can you believe we've made it to 27?
27. This is the magical number in the music industry.
This is where we're going to have to die unexpectedly. Unexpectedly and tragically, but also heroically, and for the benefit of everybody else who comes after us. It's our 27th episode. Look up to us. Remember us when we were beautiful. We're not going to be around long enough to get ugly. I'm sorry. I was feeling cutesy. How are you? I haven't spoken to you in like a week.
I know. We recorded that Henry episode right after Nirvana, and then we took a little break. So it's good to be back. I feel rusty. I know. I missed you.
I do too. I'm nervous about this one. I feel like I just get a little bit nervous. It's like it's broadcasting. Like I'm a little bit drunk, and I'm broadcasting live to the known universe.
Yeah.
That's what the known universe is. What I call the 37 people that listen to this podcast.
We got more than that, I promise. And hello again to that person in Bangladesh.
Do you have a couch in Bangladesh? Things aren't great in America right now. Swing on by if you got any space for me. I'm narrow, I'm long. It's gonna have to be a long couch, but it can be really as thin as you want.
Oh, okay. Yeah. You got that, Bangladesh? I think they can work that out for you.
I appreciate it, buddy.
So
what have you been up to?
Today was a frustrating day in quarantine with my 6-year-old. Real tears, real stressful knockdown, drag out fight with real tears from him because he wanted to build a time machine and he didn't want to be creative and like, let's make one out of blocks and paper. He's like, let's go in daddy's garage and get his tools and let's build a time machine. And I had to explain that no one has done that yet, or else we wouldn't even be in a pandemic, you know? And he basically was treating me like, you're just being mean. Like he gave me that I fuck you look where he goes, I'll show you. He was mad.
I'm going to go do it right now. I got some of daddy's tools. I got some of daddy's nuclear waste. We're definitely going to be making a time machine. That's so weird because a time travel agency just opened up right down the street from me.
What? What's going on?
Yeah. Or right across the street from the gas station in this old convenience store, there's a time travel agency now. It wasn't there yesterday. I swear it wasn't there yesterday, but it's there now. And it's like, it's been there forever. Like it just says time travel agency and it's dusty and it's kind of broken down, but it's obviously been there for forever and a day. I've never seen it before, but I went in and talked to the guy, and the time travel agent in there is like the most frustrated, fed up, not having it anymore customer service person that you have ever run into. Like he's been doing his job pretty much forever. Like for centuries. I mean, he has a time machine, for God's sake. He just sets up the storefront and he takes people wherever in time that they want to go. And it's got to be just the most horrible job you can, like, can you imagine somebody walking in there? Like, no matter what they say, you've heard it a million times before. Like, you just walk in and it's like, hey man, I'd really like to go back to the prehistoric ages. And he's just like, oh, look, dude, dinosaur fights are really hard to find, okay? Just because you have a time machine, it doesn't solve all of your problems. There's still logistical things. It only travels through time, not space. Like you're going to go back to the 5800 block of your street. That's it. Like wherever we are, that's what we're going back in time to. And we're in Texas, so it gets pretty boring if you go back about 500 years. Like he's just like everything. It doesn't matter. Like, hey, can I go back and see the Knights of the Round Table? Like King Arthur is a fair and just man, all right? And that's why he's going to cut your fucking head off. All right? He doesn't want to see you. And by the way, I hate that I have to say this to everybody who walks in here, but you cannot go back in time and watch yourself have sex, okay? It's gross.
Why would you want to?
I search me. I don't. It's amazing. Like as you're sitting there talking to him, like his list of rules just keeps getting higher and higher. It's like a dictionary size, and then like a second later, it's encyclopedia. It's incredible what's going on in this place. But it is a thing. You can go to the time travel agency. That guy is the most smooth, worn the fuck out person you will ever run into.
Oh, that worse than a postal employee, I'm guessing. Just
He's terrible. No matter what your idea is, he's got a great big sign on his wall, like before you even walk in, that just says, "Look, Hitler's bodyguards are really good at spotting time travelers." That's all they do.
They
24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
That's awesome. Oh man. Yeah, I'm picturing this guy. He's missing a button. He unbuttoned his shirt unevenly. He's chain smoking. Yeah. Yep.
There's not enough coffee in my whiskey. There's not enough whiskey in my coffee. There's not enough blood in my coffee and whiskey. He's a pretty worn out guy. This is going to be a fun episode.
I'm excited.
Yes, I'm really excited about this one too. Dianne, who do we have? We got special guests again.
All right, I'm about to bring them on. We have McGee and Jess Hooker. You may know them from the Bob and Tom Show or their own podcast, the Off the Air podcast. You know what? Let's just go ahead and bring them in. I'm going to hit admit. Who are we getting first? There's Chick, and I see Jess's bookshelf. Can you hear me yet?
I can hear you.
Yay!
Yay!
Good to see you again.
Hello, Ben. Roger, come over.
Roger that. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Yes, that's Jess's library area. I reckon. Yep,
there's a Jess. She looks great.
She's got her work shirt on. It says Jess right there on the pocket.
Does she work as a mechanic? Hello.
Well, hi.
Well, as we all know, that's the way they like to label us at work. They like to keep our, it's a personal business. They like to keep our names on our shirts so they can remember who we are. Yeah.
That's not a good way to wear that.
That looks good, Jess. I like the high pony.
Yeah, I know, right?
Well, before you guys came on, I introduced you as, Chick McGee and Jess Hooker from the Bob and Tom Show and from your own successful podcast called Off the Air, which has been off the air for a little while, but now it's back.
Off the air, on the air, off the air again, on the air. Yeah, I don't know what we're doing with it, but it still exists. We just some Tuesdays we don't feel like doing it. Just to be quite honest.
Yeah, the last 2 Tuesdays have been those two.
Yeah.
We
real
do
busy.
it more than we don't. That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. I think it's getting close.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. Okay.
Well,
How do I get that smoky radio voice? I want those golden pipes.
Well, looks to me like you've got about 40 years to go, and then you'll be there a little bit, maybe. I don't know. Yeah. Thank you very much, Ben. I appreciate that.
This is so exciting for so many of our listeners because you guys found me on Twitter like 10 years ago or something.
I think it was. Yeah.
And then you guys have talked me up so much. I got a lot of your listeners that started following me just on my Twitter and Instagram. And now when I told them this was happening, they just are beside themselves. So I'm excited. Awesome. They're excited.
Everybody's excited. That's good.
Ooh, we're doing, you guys are a little bit familiar with what we do here, right? We're going to do a deep dive on the lyrics to a song. We're going to talk about how it lands in our brains and how we think about the people who sing it and the people who are in love with it and all that kind of stuff. So you guys picked the song. Do you want to intro it and talk about like where it's coming from and why you love it?
Well, I guess I kind of picked this one because it was out 5 years before Jess was born. So I guess that automatically falls to me, I think. It's Peter Frampton from, I guess, an album that changed everything. I think not only as far as live albums, but as far as albums goes and marketing and the money you can make that obviously doesn't exist now. The royalties and how much you can make off an album, that's kind of gone away. But no one had ever thought that an album could sell like this and be this popular, but it was the theme of my senior high school play.
Oh yeah.
Are you serious?
Oh yeah, it was. Well, it was during rehearsal. It wasn't. We couldn't put that on. We couldn't put it on stage in teeny tiny London, Ohio. That wouldn't go very far. But it's Do You Feel Like We Do? And we had our own, I don't know if they were misheard lyrics, but we put some dirty things in there, obviously. Yeah, I think
Nice.
everybody did. And when he's on the mouth harp there, wow, 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 doing all that kind of stuff. And people still do that on their iPhones. You know that? There's sounds you can, have you done this?
No.
I haven't seen it.
See, now I seem like in a nut.
I'm
No,
gonna
no.
learn so much today.
No, it sounds like electronic generated sound, and if you put your mouth over it, wah, 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 you can make it. Yeah, I sound insane. Back to you, Dianne.
Is it an app? Is this what you're saying? It's
No,
an app?
no, on TikTok.
thing?
I've kind of gone down the TikTok hole, and every now and then someone will, hey, hold the speaker up to your mouth. And of course I do. And it makes a weird noise like Peter Frampton. And no one had ever heard anything like that. And we all lost our minds, and it went on for 14 minutes or so. So
yeah. So this is before Freebird, right? Was this the first like long song that they could put on the radio and the DJs could go take a long piss and smoke break?
Well, the DJs at our radio station were doing other things.
Yeah, we were arranging for people to win concert tickets and things like that during the song. I don't know. Maybe Freebird did come out in 79, and I think Frampton was 76. I think that's right. Yeah. But there was a 7-minute version of it in radio, believe it or not. They edited it up, chopped it up so you could put it on AM radio. And of course it's like almost 15 minutes, I guess, or something like that.
Wow.
And and Jess has no idea. Well, you've heard it.
Okay, well, I can tell my version of Peter. I have seen Peter Frampton do this live. Not just live at a concert, but like 10 feet away live. And then he came over and hugged me afterwards.
Whoa.
Yes.
Back up.
So
Start over.
I know. So at Bob and Tom, we have the Bob and Tom studio. And then like maybe 1.5 miles, 2 miles away, it's kind of like a clubhouse, but it's actually like a state-of-the-art studio. And that is where like the A+ great guests we have go and perform.
Got it.
And if you look back, we have some video of when Bob and Tom have recorded their albums. That's usually where they are. You can see, and the entire band is there, and all the background singers, everybody. It's really fun to be there in any circumstances. But I was going to say, do you remember what year that was? I can't ask you. You think like yesterday was 10 years ago. So do you remember this though?
You're a more wonderful human being. I'm thinking in the 90s or maybe early thousands. No,
that's not when I was there. Yeah. So
I remember is he played All I Want to Be Is By Your Side, and there's a part of it on the live album where he goes, all I want to be is, and the crowd goes, by your side, and nobody else yelled it out during the live taping but me. And I think Pete and I became close friends at that point. So
he's like, my man.
That's right. That's the way I remember. He pointed me out. Yeah, which was like 10 feet away. Yeah, that's right.
Right. Yeah, yeah. So I was, I don't know, 25, 26 years old. And I knew he was a big deal. I didn't know how big of a deal he was.
Yeah.
And plus I was working for my heroes. Like I didn't you know what I mean? Like it's when you get to work where you've always wanted to work, it's like everybody is on the same plane, like when you come in and out of there, and you have to be cool. You can't act like a freak.
Right.
And so so we're there and I'm working or assisting or doing whatever I'm doing. And I was like, man, that guy's really nice. And he's pretty hot for an old guy. Like it's just, and so through the whole thing, and I was like, wow, that's really cool that he could do that. Like, and now I realize he'd been doing it since, well, my entire life at least. Yeah. So it wasn't a part of my senior play, and I wasn't in high school when it came out, but I did get to see it live and in person and in very close proximity. And it was
that's what I wanted to ask you.
I didn't realize
Like-
then how cool it was, and now I do. So
I think if Peter Frampton played Do You Feel Like We Do within 10 feet of me and then gave me a hug, I'd get pregnant. I really do.
yeah, it was by far probably of all of the cool, famous, talented people that I have met in the almost 20 years I've been around the show, he's probably number one, to be honest.
Well, Jess, did he hug everyone or just you?
No, Christy got a better hug than I did.
Oh,
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
I was
This
just
is kind of
wondering
a
if you
sidetrack,
missed a
but-
chance.
I know that's
Yeah.
true. Yeah, did I? I don't know.
Go ahead, Ben.
What makes a better hug? I'm always looking to improve my hug game.
I don't know. I mean, it's Peter Frampton, so it's going to be like the best hug.
Yeah.
I think that after that, you can start categorizing hugs in like creepy hug, like, you know, the guy that side hugs you and kind of rubs his junk on your thigh. Like that's the worst hug. That's the worst
Mhm.
hug
That's the best hug.
for you, you weirdo.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
I know. I'm always so weird about who I give full frontal and who I give a
It's true.
don't let the boobs touch too much.
Mhm.
This one.
Mhm.
And then I'm like, you know, I'm 5 foot tall. So when a guy's tall, it's very awkward where I'm just hugging his belts.
Right. But now we don't have to hug at all. So, I mean, I'm glad that awkwardness is
Yeah,
Air high fives.
that's right. Yeah.
It's a huge relief. Stay out of my way.
yeah.
We usually like start off an episode by literally reading through the lyrics and kind of like taking them line by line. And
Oh,
I can
cool.
get kind of like English majory about it, where, you know, like we delve into some of the symbolism and this kind of stuff. So it'll be fun. Like if I get carried away or what, like just let the air out of me. Like I can come off like a pompous asshole most of the time. Go
Yeah,
ahead and
sometimes-
poke that hot air balloon.
Sometimes we like to read them the way you would just see them on paper, and like you don't know anything about the song or what it's really about. Like how does this just read? So let's do that.
Want to give it a go?
Yeah, let's give it a go.
Do You Feel Like We Do by Peter Frampton. Well, woke up this morning with a wine glass in my hand. Whose wine? What wine? Where the hell did I dine? That's a troublesome morning. That is a problem.
Yes, he's got a headache. Yeah.
There's a lot of drunken mysteries to solve right there. Wake up, Dr. Watson.
And especially with wine, that wine headache
Oh.
cuts different than any of the other boozes.
I can't remember the last glass of wine I've had. I
Because
can't remember
of
the last
that?
time. Exactly
either.
because of that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And because I can't mix it up. Like I like to drink, you know, like hard liquors and things like that. So I think if I start with a glass of wine, then I have to stick with it. I can't remember the last time I did it.
Mhm.
I'm not going to do it. Must have been a dream. I don't believe where I've been. Come on, let's do it again. Like that.
That's right. That's the old college spirit. Yeah.
Exactly.
I never went to college, and I think that saved my life. Like, I've had mornings where I've woken up like surrounded by all those drunken mysteries, but never has it gone through my head just like, well, we just got to get back up on that horse and keep riding. Like it's always
Right,
been like,
yeah.
let's take a break. And I think that's why I'm not a rock star. Like, I just that's why I've never quite found bottom.
Good thing.
What's the strangest place you ever woke up? Dianne.
Oh.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Mm.
Physically strange. I'm thinking mentally strange.
Either one.
It's
Scenery. Yeah.
probably both at the same time. Crap. Come back to me on that. Jess or Chick, do you have one right off the bat?
Mm.
Well, the first year I was in radio in '76, I always woke up in a weird place because I slept in the back of the station. I lived there the entire time I worked there. I lived there for 7 months or whatever it was. So that was kind of weird. Looking back, it was weird. When it was happening, it didn't seem that strange. I was on the radio. That's all I knew. So
That's all that matters. That's weird. Like Phantom of the Radio.
yeah, I'd get up and turn the station on, and the whole thing in my jammies and
In your jams?
in my jams. Yeah, my
Nice.
jams. Yeah.
I remember mine. It was high school. You know, when you just got real drunk and you hadn't learned any lessons yet. It was after a Halloween party, and I won't tell you the whole story. I'll tell you where I woke up was in a bed with a guy who had already graduated from our high school like a couple years before.
Okay.
He might have been 21. I was still dressed as I Dream of Jeannie, and he was beside me, and my friend Desiree was on the other side of him, dressed as a naughty
Oh, my
cowgirl,
goodness.
and he was laying there like this, like just hands to himself, because I think he
Really?
woke up and was like, no,
Uh-oh.
I can't have these girls here. I didn't touch it, and nothing happened. I will say I didn't get blackout drunk. There was no sex. We were all fully dressed. We all just passed out together in that bed. And what's crazy is I was friends with his younger brother, and his younger brother saw him getting us the fuck out of the house real fast. And his brother, I remember his brother just being like, what happened?
Yeah.
I'm like, nothing.
Yeah.
I don't remember why we ended up there though.
I didn't ever really get, oddly enough, I never really drank any amount to speak of until like 25, 26 years old.
Oh,
I had my license early, and I drove people places. I found that more enjoyable than
well,
I was trying to be the hero, I guess.
Well, that's nice. I hope my son
I
is
don't
like
know.
that.
Well, he's a Charlie, so that's a good idea. Yeah.
there
That's
you go. Yeah. The strangest place I ever woke up. So my dad and my stepmom got divorced when I was a freshman in high school. Well, they had been together since I was like 6, and then my stepsister's name was Jessie, and she was 6 months younger than me. And so we hated each other, but we were best friends. And we became even closer once we moved into different houses and didn't have to live together anymore. I was always at her house, or she was always at my house. So one day after school, this is what we were doing after school. We were
like a Tuesday.
Yeah, all kinds of things. We were doing all kinds of things. So because we have a short window between when school dismissed and when our parents would get home. So we were all over at her house. And my last memory is that I was trying to get into the refrigerator, and Jessie goes, "You can't eat anything. You will lose your high." And I was like, "Shut up." And then we started wrestling. Like we were like fighting like siblings do. And everybody was laughing because
This is hot.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And she moved out of the way, and it probably wasn't as quick as it felt. And I just went face first onto the kitchen floor.
Oh no.
So then I woke up to somebody kicking me in the shoulder, and I looked up, and it's my dad's ex-wife. And she goes, "What are you doing here?" And I was like, "What are you doing here?" She goes, "Jessie's at work." And I was like, "Who else is it?" She goes, you were here by yourself. They left me. They let me pass out and let me lay on the kitchen floor. And my stepmom, Debbie, was like, "You have to go." And I was like, I need a ride. Drive me back to my dad's house.
Oh my gosh.
Mm-hmm.
To eat, you'll lose your high is good advice.
Yes.
Every high school kid needs to learn that one.
It'll cut into your buzz, man.
Yeah. Dianne, you need to put that in like calligraphy on Charlie's chalkboard.
I'm not ready for this conversation.
One of my best friends is gay. She's a personal trainer, so she's very, very attractive. And we were going out one night, and she was on the prowl. Like she was ready. She was looking for a lady. So we go to this bar, and she had this weird way of like making eye contact with women, to like this strong eye contact to see if there's like any chance there. And if there was, like, she would just latch onto the conversation. But if there wasn't, then she would just like totally hand them off on me. She would just like look into their eyes for a few seconds, and then just go, "You need to go talk to my friend Ben. Go talk to my friend Ben."
It's a good system.
Yeah.
It really is. So we both got good and drunk, and I drove her home, and she'd lost her keys, so she couldn't get into her house, which was like this rental cottage, kind of like on a suburban street. So I was drunk enough to believe that I could like pick her front door lock. So like I'm thinking like, after 7 whiskeys, I turn into a cat burglar. Like, I got like a butter knife and my credit card, and I'm doing everything I can. But she's going insane. Like she's absolutely like in a drunken rage. So she goes back around to her garden shed and comes out with an axe, and she's ready to like chop down her door. And I'm 6'3" and 140 pounds, so just completely noodled. And she's like a personal trainer. So even though she's like no taller than a fire plug. She's still way stronger than me. Fortunately, she's drunk. So I keep like wrestling the axe out of her hand and like trying to get her to settle down while I keep picking the lock. She gets really good and pissed off and eventually just starts swinging it around. She smashes out her front windows, smashes out her back windows, and then kind of crawls in and unlocks the front door, and in we go. So she's totally destroyed her house. So I go in and I sleep next to her in bed thinking like the last thing I want is for her to wake up tomorrow morning and see all of this damage and go, what the hell happened? So we wake up and like I'm kind of like gently like shaking her awake, like, hey, it's time to wake up. She wakes up and looks at me, and I'm a dude and she doesn't like dudes, and like her eyebrows shoot up like an absolute look of horror across her face. And all I can think to say to her is just like, I'm the least of your worries.
Now look around. Yeah.
You got robbed.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Just be thankful nothing's missing. Yeah.
And then you said, do you feel like I do?
How do you feel? Do you feel like I do? My friend got busted just the other day. They said, don't walk away. Drove him to a taxi, bent the boot, hit the bag, had to play some music, otherwise he'd crack. What's happening there?
I have
what that is.
wonder why he's brag or drag. I don't know what the lyric is. I don't understand this whole verse. Anybody?
Well, whenever I hear boot, I always assumed he was talking about the back of the car. Isn't that what they
I think
call
it's
that?
the trunk. Yeah, the
Okay,
boot.
the trunk.
I think.
So when he said, but does he say bend the boot?
Bent the boot.
Maybe
Bent
dented the car. Maybe.
Maybe. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, like they're so hammered. Like he drove them up to a taxi, rear-ended the taxi.
There you go.
Bent the boot of the car, and then honked the horn. Is the best I could do. Hit the bag.
Is that hit the bag? Got it.
I think so. Like
I always thought swag was in there for some reason.
Oh God.
The Wall Street swag or something. I don't know. But I hear about half of everything in everyday conversation. So God knows what I hear in music lyrics.
I think with all the improvising that they do on this song, it wouldn't surprise me at all if he improvises the lyrics.
Yeah.
Like you probably heard a live version where he's just like, as long as it rhymes.
Yeah.
Right.
If it rhymes, it's fine. That doesn't rhyme.
So basically, this was just a fucking hellacious night, like we've all had, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He goes on, do you feel like I do? How do you feel? Do you feel like I do? This is my favorite thing on the lyrics website that I went to for this one. It has the, it lists the guitar solos. So like in parentheses, it just says first guitar solo.
Nice.
Of course, cool. Like, yeah, this whole song is about the guitar solos.
Right.
Yeah, these lyrics don't even matter because it's all about the guitar in this song.
Right.
Yeah.
They matter. The lyrics do still matter. Right? It says, champagne for breakfast and a Sherman in my hand. Peach top, peach tails, never fails. Must have been a dream. I don't believe where I've been. Come on, let's do it again.
What is a Sherman? What is it?
Yeah.
What is a Sherman?
It is.
Who knows?
It's an alcoholic drink, I think. Hold on.
No, it's Nat Sherman cigars are really fancy cigars.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. That makes sense.
But there is a cocktail called a Sherman. I thought that there was.
Okay.
But I would go with what you said. Yeah.
That makes that makes sense. Yeah.
Or with either or. There's no reason you can't have a champagne flute and a cocktail in your hand.
That's
true.
right.
We've all done that.
Mm-hmm.
What is peach
top?
Yeah.
Oh, Dianne.
Oh.
It's referring to attractive ladies like you and Jess.
Oh.
Oh, a peach. Okay.
Yes, I think
Got
he's comparing certain compelling parts of your anatomy to certain
Oh.
fruits that he enjoys.
So he was early on the emoji thing, right? The peach emoji. Yeah.
Yeah, that's where Apple got
so.
it. Yeah.
That's right. That's right. They like Frampton. Sure. Yeah.
Do you feel like I do? How do you feel? Do you feel like I? And then here comes the keyboard solo.
Bob Mayo on keyboards. Bob Mayo.
It's catchy as fuck.
I thought he was saying Buck Meyer when I first heard the song. And no, it's Bob. And then you meet Bob Mayo and he goes, my name's Bob Mayo. I go, oh, yeah. Yeah. You look at him, you go, I thought your name was Buck Meyer. And he like looks at you like, you're an idiot. Yeah.
Oh, no laugh for me. Okay.
No little giggle. Thanks, Buck.
So, what I read is that this song is about a hangover, just straightforward. He went in, he was hungover. They were recording. He somehow remembered some guitar riff he played on his acoustic guitar, and they flushed it out. And then his bandmates were like, all right, go write lyrics for this. And he's like, I can't, I'm too hungover. They're like, write about that.
Oh, there you go.
Wow.
So
Good enough, I can do it.
that's information I got off of songfacts.com, and I didn't really get anything anywhere else. So that's, I mean, we can go with that because it works. And then, and I think most artists know you can write whatever you want. The public's going to take it and do what they will with it, and it's going to mean whatever they want it to mean.
Mm-hmm.
But if it's a hangover song, like he's pretty restrained. Like these lyrics are pretty good if he's just writing about a hangover. Mine would not be this good. There would be something that would just be like 10 more minutes. Can you just give me 10 more minutes? Get off my sack. I just woke up.
Oh gosh. I remember one time, it was probably 10 years ago. I had a horrible hangover. And I remember hearing my daughter on the phone with my mom, and she said, she said, oh, mommy was at a wedding last night. And at weddings, you stand a lot and you talk a lot. So she was really tired. And I was like, yes, that's exactly what happened.
Exactly why. No champagne, no Sherman.
No, none of that. No. Just talked a lot. Yep.
At what age?
A wedding can be a beautiful union between a woman and her social anxiety disorder.
Very true.
Yep. Yeah, my hangovers are just, I mean, they're unbearable. I can't, it's basically to the point where I don't get drunk anymore because I cannot be hungover anymore. Yeah. I can have some drinks. Right. I cannot, once I am like, if I think I might be getting drunk, I'm like, my next 2 days will be ruined, and I have a 6-year-old, and this can't happen right now.
Yeah. And I don't know, like, do you change? Is it age that makes us change? Is it our kids that make us change?
I think it's age. I don't know.
Yeah.
Chick?
Chick? Yeah. What do you think?
Yeah. Age. Thank you. I'm in charge of that. Yeah.
I have a question to age.
It has been a pretty long time since I've been hungover, which is kind of scary, but because I've done a lot of drinking and still not been hungover the next day for some reason. But there always seems to be that cycle that I go through. If I am hungover, it gets to be, 5 or 6 hours in and go, man, maybe I've got the flu or something. Maybe that's it. Maybe I have, maybe I've got COVID now. I don't know.
Oh God, the anxiety.
Like hell. Yeah. I think I've got it like 5 or 6 times a day, and it goes away. But yeah.
Well, that's the hard thing, because like the early symptoms of early onset coronavirus are exactly the same as the symptoms of being drunk 100 days in a row.
I don't think it is. It's the perfect disease. It's sinister is what it is.
The fatigue. I felt the fatigue. Every day for like
I lost my sense of smell, and I can't taste anything.
Oh my God. I think you might actually have COVID, Chick. You might want to get
all right. Okay, maybe so. Yeah, maybe so.
Well, I will say this, when he starts doing, we can talk about the talk box that he well, can one of you explain it better? I mean, I understand it takes the sound from the guitar through a tube in his mouth, which he then sings into a microphone.
I think at the time he did it, it involved tubing, and it went on a delay, and there was an echo because of the plastic tubing. Now, obviously, it's all electronic, and he's come out with his own invention. It's called the Frampton.
Yes.
And people use that on their guitars now and try to get the same effect he did, but obviously he was first, so it makes it a little more special. But yeah, it was something about the tubing, and it went somewhere, and because I can remember it was hooked onto his microphone, right? And he would go up and like swallow like you would with your iPhone. Remember a TikTok story? Remember that?
Exactly.
Yeah. It's the same thing. So he was using it with a microphone. Yeah.
Well, what's so funny is the sound that starts coming out. It's so funny to me because this is the kind of shit my 6-year-old would come up with to do when I'm hungover. And I would be like, I mean, it's only when I'm hungover where he's like, remember that we have cymbals? Bang, bang, bang. And I'm like, what a funny song to be written about a hangover and just make these god awful noises.
Awful.
Like it's actually it's fun to listen to when you're sober, but when you're hungover, it's the last thing you want to hear.
Well, I think it's probably like if Charlie would stick his head into a big pot and then that echo. I think it's this kind of the same principle. I think, you know,
Yeah.
so he could hear his sound echoing back to him, I guess.
Well, what I love is when you go listen to, you know, the live episodes of the song, as soon as he starts doing it, the crowd goes ape shit.
Loses their mind.
They know what's coming. Yeah.
Well, I just wanted, we talked about a time machine before we started the episode. I want to go back in time and be like, you guys wait, in like 20 years, 30 years, there's going to be this thing called techno. It's going to gonna blow your biscuit.
Yeah.
If you like that, let me show you some Daft Punk.
Right. Yeah. I remember when I saw that tube for the first time, and I was like, that looks like I saw it when I saw my dad use it, and it was his CPAP machine. I was like, that's like that thing Peter Frampton puts in his mouth. Yeah. It's a lot less cool that way.
Well, Chick, I want to hear from you. You're the one who chose the song, and you said that you were in high school when this came out.
Yes, 1976. That's right.
All right, it was a year before I was born. Not too bad.
Okay, that's right. Yes. Mm-hmm.
No, but I love hearing about this. Like, you know, do you remember where you were the first time you heard it? Is it one of those that it was like a slow burn that became popular, or did you love it immediately?
Well, we heard things about the album, and there were rumblings, and of course, most people had it on vinyl, but then somebody got it on 8-track for their car, believe it or not. And
yes.
And I told Frampton this story. I had it. Let me back up again. However many times I've sub-referenced. This is also holds the record for the album that I've had the most electronic forms of. I had it on vinyl. I got it on 8-track. I had it on cassette. Had it on CD. Obviously MP3s and streaming. I mean, it's, you know, that's
awesome.
It's forever. But I told Frampton that I had the 8-track, and right at the end of his big guitar solo, my 8-track player ate it.
Oh.
And the 8-tracks, you could easily splice them together with like Scotch tape. So you would actually take it out and put it together, and it would like, and it would switch to the start of I think Something's Happening is the first song on the album.
That's
and it
awesome.
would slam into that, and I never really heard the end of his song until it came out on cassette.
Oh my gosh.
Oh yeah, and that wasn't the first time. Evidently, I thought it was a studio song before. It was on an album called Frampton's Camel in 1973, a studio version of this, believe it or not.
Right.
And then then obviously it was a much bigger hit on the live album. But, yeah.
So what's his journey? Like Humble Pie, then Frampton by himself?
Yeah, that's another thing that's crazy. I mean, all those guys that were in those bands when they were 16, 17. I think Frampton was in Humble Pie when he was 16. There were a couple guys in Bad Company when all that was happening. They were 16, 17 years old. But he was in Humble Pie, and he was in Frampton's Camel, and then which was kind of his band, and then he was Peter Frampton, and everything that happened there. Yeah, well, I Don't Need No Doctors, a great long song too. They don't have long songs like that anymore, do they? I don't think they do, Diane. Yeah, they don't have the big long live songs like they used to.
I don't really listen to the kids' music anymore. I'm becoming curmudgeon myself with music. I need to. I'm sure there's good stuff out there.
With the Furs and stuff, is that who do you like? The Cure and what is that?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's a long running joke on this show, like how much me and Ben love really, really sappy 80s new wave music.
I was in a group called Algebra 2 when I was 16 years old, and we were really kind of confusing and frustrating and hard to get along with, and surprisingly way more emotional than you would think.
Well, Jess grew up on rap, I think. Didn't you have that one album?
Did you have an album?
You did. You told me this story about you and a pickup truck and somebody's rap album. You drive your brother to school every morning or something.
Oh yeah. So my brother, I would have to drop him off at junior high when I was going to high school. and we would never talk. Obviously, we hated each other, and we'd get in. I had a little Jeep Cherokee, and we would we just would play Tupac all the way to school every day. And I mean, it was literally a 20-minute drive, like taking him and going, and that was just, we didn't speak to each other. He would get out of the car, walk in, and we just listen to
Did you
Tupac.
both like at least rap at the same time, like in unison?
I don't even know. I don't even think we sang. Like we didn't rap with it. We didn't, you know, you wonder why they call you bitch. Like that's what we're listening to on the way to school. What? Yeah.
That's really funny.
Yeah.
I was looking for like a secret bonding moment, but it doesn't sound like it was there.
No, it didn't. Like we really, like we stopped talking about then and probably started talking again, I don't know, 2006-ish.
Okay.
You know, just, you know, teenage, early 20s stuff. Like,
Right.
yeah.
Well, talking about high school, it feels like we've been doing this podcast for 27 episodes now, and everything seems to lead back to Bowie. It always does. So Frampton went to high school with Bowie.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, they were classmates. Yeah, that's right.
And
It's crazy to think that Peter Frampton is not the most famous guy from his own high school.
Isn't that nuts?
Right?
yeah, what a bummer that is. And what is it?
There's no metaphor for that either. Right? It's like you try to write the joke. Just like, what was going to high school with David Bowie like? Well, it was like going to high school with David Bowie. There's nothing. There's
Yeah, right.
And wasn't Bowie's father a teacher that taught Frampton something, Ben?
Yeah, he was David Bowie's art teacher. And he was, I guess he was the art director of this high school. So I think David Bowie's real name is David Jones, if I'm not mistaken.
Mm-hmm.
So apparently Frampton is a couple of years younger, and this is a high school. So I guess when Frampton was 11, he was going to see like the school's talent show or the school's art show. And David Bowie was playing saxophone and doing Elvis covers. And he asked his dad, like, who is that? And his dad said, oh, that's just Jones. And apparently Frampton went, I want to be that guy.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I read later on that Bowie kind of saved Frampton's career a little bit, because after like this song and this album that we're talking about, he kind of plunged a little bit and didn't get a lot of attention. And then he went on tour or did something with Bowie later, with like Bowie had an album that actually didn't do well, that Never Let Me Down or something like that. And but it kind of brought Frampton back to life a little bit, and he was just thanking him for that. But anyway, for some reason, everything comes back to Bowie all the time.
I like that.
Yeah.
All roads lead to Bowie.
What did I just read about Bowie the other day? Oh, so this has nothing to do with anything except Bowie, so I hope it's okay. How he had 2 different colored eyes.
Yeah.
And how did I come upon? Oh, my eyes are getting lighter, and I didn't know that was a thing. But your eyes can get lighter with age, and I didn't know that. Yeah, I didn't know that.
That sounds
happened.
creepy. That doesn't sound like a thing.
I know it sounds
might need to go
wild,
to the
but my
doctor.
eyes are like almost green, and they've been brown my entire life. And so I read where he said that his eyes, it was like a head injury. He got
Really?
hit by something, and that's what made his eyes 2 different colors.
Whoa.
Wild, yeah.
There's a name for it.
There is a name for it, and I can't remember.
I had that information for you at one time. Yeah, but no, it was yet another David Bowie fight, and all David Bowie fights are based on David Bowie was hitting on somebody's girlfriend and doing far better at it than that guy ever suspected.
Yeah. On a previous podcast, we talked about the fight that David Bowie got into with Axl Rose. A very young Axl Rose, because the same thing happened. Like Axl wasn't established yet, but Bowie came in, just started hitting on his girl.
Yeah.
Ben knows the story better than I do.
It's the funniest thing ever, because like Axl's like all upset about it, and apparently like threw some punches that never really connected, and then everybody got him separated. And then a couple of days later, I think it was like Keith Richards and Eric Clapton had to sit Axl Rose down and just go, that's just what Bowie does, man. That's just who he is.
I thought I knew a lot about.
I
thought I knew a lot about Bowie, but there's a video out there, and I love documentaries. I watch pretty much any documentary, and I guess Luther Vandross was a backup singer on Fame. I think Bowie's Fame. Or
Whoa.
One of those songs. Yeah, it's like him and a couple other backup singer. Is it? Oh yeah, and there's Luther Vandross. Fame. It's like, all right, okay, yeah, I knew that was a great song. Yeah.
If that was a true or false trivia question, I would be beating the table that was false.
Right? Yeah.
You're like, no, I didn't know.
As Jess will tell you, 90% of that story is right.
Oh yeah.
I've got one. I have one major fact wrong probably in that story, but yeah.
Always.
My intentions are good.
Yeah, for a guy who has made a career out of comedy radio, he cannot tell a joke to save his life.
I can't tell a joke, and I remember a lot of facts, but they get all jumbled up. It's crazy. Yeah.
It happens. It happens to me too. Speaking of comedy radio, Henry was on our last episode, and he was really excited that we were having you guys on. He said to tell you hello.
We miss him so much.
My favorite Henry Phillips story is...
Well, we have a lot of Henry Phillips stories.
He told one of you guys too.
Oh gosh.
Yeah?
I'm even halfway through that podcast. I haven't listened to all of it yet.
Well, he just talks about that. Oh, we lost Ben. Is he coming back? Jess, there he is.
Oh, there he is.
Jess, you were in charge of the tour that they were doing, and you and another guy had funny last names, and every email that sent out was going to people's spams. It was like Hooker, and what's the other guy's name?
I'll have to think. Oh, I can't remember that guy. Oh, who was that?
Dick Punch. Marty Dick Punch, wasn't it?
No, it was I think he was like a big wrestler guy, and he was another promoter that traveled with us.
Yeah, it's on the podcast, I'm sure.
Okay, oh my gosh, yeah, that's funny. I completely forgot about that. Yeah, it wasn't. That still happens to this day. I just had to email a comedian about the show, and he didn't answer, and I was like, man, he's supposed to be on the show tomorrow. And so I called our producer Dean, and I said, hey, can you shoot an email over to him and say hey? And sure enough, like 3 minutes later, he was like, I'm so sorry, it was in my spam. And I was like, well, you're going to have to add me to your list.
Well, I'll say real quick, before I got married, my last name was Cups, and it was D_Cups at Hotmail. So all my emails went to spam.
Nice.
All right.
I never even considered it because it was always just my name. And D_Cups at Hotmail. Give me a break. That's going nowhere.
So Henry Phillips, Drew Hastings, and I are in a car, and we're driving across North Dakota, and we pull into a Wendy's drive-through, and for some reason I was asleep in the back seat. I was usually driving. I must have been hungover, probably, is what. And we drive up to the Wendy's drive-through, and Henry, it's like 10:45, and Henry rolls down the window and, hi, welcome to Wendy's. May I take your order? And Henry goes, yeah. You guys have a liquor license? And then Hastings starts with, Henry, come on, they don't have any liquor license. Stop, cut that out. And he's one of a kind, that Henry Phillips.
He's great.
Tell you what.
It's funny. Corbin listened to the podcast, and he's like, he's just so nice.
He really is.
He really, really is. Whenever I had to do a show with him, I was so relieved because I was like, okay, I have one nice person to work with.
Oh, not like how you feel about Bob Biggerstaff.
You know what? I remember when we were talking about this, I've never met Bob. I've never met him. And I just recently put this together. Bob is a very confident person. He is very confident. I am not a very confident person. I have issue with people who are confident, and I don't know. I'm like, I don't listen. And I'm like, do you have a reason to be confident? Like, are you funny? Are you attractive? Are you smart? Are you kind? Like, do you have a reason? And I was like, well, oh my gosh. And then I realized, oh my gosh, I am really attracted to men who are overly confident and have no reason. I'm like secretly really attracted to Bob, and I don't know.
Oh my God.
That was a therapy breakthrough I'm sharing with you guys.
Oh my gosh.
Right.
Yeah, no, I've never met Bob. He was on the show. What,
Bob
like a
was
couple
on,
months ago. He called in.
On video.
Called in. Yeah, and it was just. No, now I'm not curious because I want to date him. I'm just curious. Like, I want to meet him, and I want to just stop. I think I heard some crappy story that probably wasn't even true like 10 years ago.
It's probably true. But Ben, I've tried to explain Bob Biggerstaff to her. Can maybe you back me up? Like,
I mean this entirely as a compliment because Bob is a friend of mine. Bob is really, really good at putting on his like confident sweater. Like
Right.
he's really good at just like
Mhm.
sort of surrounding himself and putting on the uniform and going, okay, here we go.
Mhm.
So when he's like, when he insults you or he comes off as brash, he's only doing it because he thinks that's the character that it's funniest for him to play. Because he knows the way he looks and he knows the way it appears, and he knows that it's funny if a guy like that is way over the top confident and hitting you with a sledgehammer.
Right. Yeah, I can't even remember why I wouldn't like him. I think it just became a joke between all of us on the road because I'd be like, I don't like him. And Warren would be like, yeah, you probably shouldn't. You shouldn't.
Yeah, you probably shouldn't. And then I jumped in. Well, that's like the Greg Warren thing is now taken off on the show.
Oh, yeah.
We're like, boo, Greg Warren.
Anytime anybody says his name. Yeah.
I know Greg probably the best out of all the comedians, and I have to twist his arm to say, yeah, fill in the blank. He's not a very nice guy. You're right. I mean, he just doesn't want to say anything bad about anybody, even the worst. Yeah.
We talked about Henry being nice. I mean, if there is a gold standard of a nice person, it is Greg Warren.
I know.
Corbin got so excited because he posted an Instagram photo of the guy where Flute Man Greg came from. Did you see that?
Oh, yeah. Huey,
Corbin was like, it's him.
Yeah. Isn't that wild? Yeah.
Huey Baker. Yeah. That's right. Yeah.
I was excited to see him too. I'd always been curious about what he looked like, and I think that's so awesome that he came to a show.
I know.
Years later, yeah.
It's Flute, Greg. The best. Corbin used to just like, the way you get a song stuck in your head and you're singing it. Corbin would get Henry and Greg's jokes stuck in his head and just be walking around the house like, Flute Joe, Flute Greg.
Yeah, we have so many of those like punchlines that are just like exclamations to whatever's going on. Like we do it with movies too. Like anytime that anything feels stressful, somebody in the house will be like, and our pets' heads are falling off. And I don't even know if my kids have ever seen that movie, but they say that when they feel like stress.
It's such a funny visual.
She says, I'm not feeling it, Harry. I'm not seeing it, Harry.
Oh, I'm not seeing it. Yeah, I always, when they're looking for Samsonite in the phone book. Yeah. That's
it's the best. Oh, it's the best.
Oh my gosh. I got to watch that tonight.
All right. Before we move on to our segments, do we have any last things to say about Frampton and this song?
Gosh, no, other than, I don't know how I became better at the music I liked.
Okay.
if that's a thing. Because I plainly remember holding a microphone from a cassette recorder up to the TV, recording the Partridge Family, and I Think I Love You. And I thought that was the best song I'd ever heard in my life.
Oh my gosh.
And but I think Frampton, Bad Company, and those guys, that was like, oh, okay. And The Who from the Woodstock movie. I went, oh my God. Yeah.
Speaking of The Who, so when I was younger, obviously this was a little before my time, and I would get this song confused with Who Are You? There's something similar about them, and I would get confused, like, who is Peter Frampton? Was he in The Who? Like, I couldn't get it right in my head.
Right. Yeah, they did the I Won't Get Fooled Again, and Townsend does the Windmill, and I was like, oh, okay, this is what good music. Okay. I don't know what I was thinking with Bobby Sherman and the Partridge Family and Tommy Rowe and the 1910 Fruit Gum Company and yummy, yummy, yummy. I got love. You guys remember that? Everybody. I got love in my tummy. Okay. Never mind.
Well, we talk about this on the podcast, like, how music shaped us and changed us in that moment where we shifted from being like a 12-year-old who likes music. Like mine, it shifted abruptly from like New Kids on the Block to The Cure, Depeche Mode, New Wave. Like it took a sharp turn. Like you hear that thing that you're like, oh no, that's what I like,
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I did that with Salt and Pepper. Yeah. I went from New Kids on the Block to The Brat and Salt and Pepper and
The Brat.
That's just and still so now I have a playlist on my phone, and I think this is how hip it is. It says female rap, and it has all of those songs in it, and my son was like, oh, what is this? And
do you have MC Light on there?
Oh yes, I do. I absolutely do.
She did a combo, what do you call it? I can't think of the word, collaboration with Sinead O'Connor, and it's
What?
like it's this song called Put Your Hands on Me, and it's a Sinead O'Connor singing, and then MC Light comes in and raps. It's amazing.
Oh.
Look it up.
What?
Oh my God.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, I posted.
Put 'em
it was
on,
probably,
put 'em on me.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to look that up. I posted I think it was like I was listening to Big Daddy Kane and Spinderella.
Okay.
And I posted it on Twitter, and Spinderella liked it.
Shut
And
up.
it was like 2 years ago, and I was like, oh my gosh. Like, I still have the screenshot on my phone. I was like, oh, it's the best day of my life.
Oh my Lord.
You're probably the only one that talked about her that day. So
That's right.
Oh,
That's
Just
right.
there you
kidding.
go.
I'm sure she's doing well. I'm not in the game. I don't know what
Yeah.
Cinderella's doing. I'm sure she's busy.
Well, speaking of Salt and Peppa, they have new makeup at the drugstore that I bought just because their faces were on it.
Oh,
This
there's
is why
some
I'm wearing this
makeup.
dark lip liner and this matte lipstick, bringing it back from the
It's very
earth.
90s. I like it.
Yeah, I'm into it.
All right. Okay, so I think we have wrapped up Frampton, but we have a lot of fun stuff to talk about here. First of all, I'm going to do our segment. It's called Dressed Up Like a Douche. And honestly, Chick, I thought of you when I thought of this segment because I remember you talking about the Dunder Chief.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
How, and I think a lot of people misheard that lyric, Dirty Deeds and the Dunder Chief.
Mhm.
And then obviously one of the most famous ones is Revved Up Like a Deuce, which everyone hears wrong. I used to hear it as dressed up like a douche, another boner in the night. I mean, I had it so wrong. But anyway,
A lot
that's
going on there.
what we call this segment. So we let listeners tell us their personal misheard song lyrics, because we know all the popular ones. We want to hear the
Right,
personal
right.
ones.
Right.
So this one comes from Marc Richel. I think that's how you spell or say his last name. And Eddie Money's 2 Tickets to Paradise. He heard, I've got 2 chickens to paralyze.
Wait a minute. I like that better.
That might be the best.
I want to know how.
Oh my gosh.
And that's so funny because usually misheard song lyrics make no sense in the song. And you're like, why? Why would someone like get up on stage in front of thousands and be like, I've got 2 chickens to paralyze?
We'll always hear it that way now.
Yeah, I'm a chicken farmer. I got some chicken to make, and I got to paralyze him first so I can catch him,
Yeah.
and then
Maybe he's just not good at snapping that neck and he just paralyzes them every
Right.
time.
Right.
All right. So we're going to go to our segment called Guilty Pleasures. I'll go with Ben first. Ben, do you have a guilty pleasure song?
I do, but I don't know if I'm going through my back catalog of guilty pleasure songs right now. This week I picked out When in Rome's The Promise. Yeah, which is a song that I like. I mean, I genuinely love it, but if it's a guilty pleasure in the sense that I won't roll down the windows of my car and
Right.
jam it out. I don't want anybody to know how much I love that song.
This is your
But-
secret.
Yeah, like in 2008 or 9, I went to like our local 80s radio station was putting on a concert, and it was When in Rome, Flock of Seagulls, and 2 other bands. And Flock of Seagulls was closing, but When in Rome was going on with their penultimate band. And they played 3 or 4 songs, and then they just like they couldn't have been nicer about it. They just whoever the lead singer in Rome is said, this is a song that for whatever reason is stuck in your head and allows us to live the life that we love. So we're glad that you love it and we love it too.
Aw.
And then they played The Promise, which is that, I'm fine, but I'm still thinking of the right words to say.
Right.
Which I'm a bartender, so that's my favorite response. And anybody says like, how you doing? And be like, I'm fine, but I'm still thinking of the right words to say.
Well,
I know
Ben,
that
you have those lyrics wrong. It's one of my favorite songs. It's I'm sorry, but I'm just thinking of the right words to say.
Is it?
Yes.
No.
if we can change one life today.
Wow. That's wild.
Unless I've been singing it wrong my whole life, we're gonna have to look it up.
Mind blown. Yeah, anyway, Flock of Seagulls were really kind of phoning it in and not happy to be there and wearing fur coats that they obviously didn't love. And I just thought the contrast between them and When in Rome was just like, no. Let it be known when the time comes that I'm a When in Rome man, not a Flock of Seagulls.
All right. Well, mine, I just went back to a one-hit wonder from the 90s. I'm sure he had other songs. I just didn't know them. But I always forget about this song until Corbin will play it randomly on his iTunes, and we both just will play it like 3 times in a row because it's so funny. It's Everything About You by Ugly Kid Joe. Do you remember this?
I remember Ugly Kid Joe. Yeah.
It's I Hate Everything About You.
I remember that
Yeah, I
song.
totally remember that song now.
I don't care a thing about your sister.
Yep. Yeah.
And then he's just talking about like, I get sick when I'm around you. I hate everything about you. And I was like, what a fun song to sing and write.
Right. Yeah. Like that was a breakup anthem, I'm sure. Yeah.
Well, who does She Fucking Hates Me?
Oh, that's a good one.
Na, na,
Too.
na, na. Yeah.
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 Na, na, na.
Same vein. Yeah. Really
Right,
fun
right.
song. If you're just going to write a song, you're
Mhm.
like, it doesn't even have to be good. If people are just going to be like, yes, I have someone in
Mhm.
mind for this one.
Right. Right.
All right. Jess, do you have a guilty pleasure song?
I do. So do you guys, I didn't know this till recently, that on your in your iTunes, you can go to your playlist and it'll tell you the top 25 most played songs
Oh,
on
sure.
your iTunes.
Okay.
Well, sure. Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Apple. I didn't know.
Hey, you got to spend some
Uh,
time with your playlist, okay? You got to invest the time if you want to get
Yeah.
out there.
So if I went through this, which there's a lot more embarrassing things on here than I had anticipated, I'm going to blame my children mostly. I'm going to say it's their fault. But I would say probably it would be You Get What You Give by the New Radicals.
Yes.
Oh, that's a great
Yeah.
song.
Is that a great song? Is that a guilty pleasure, guys? Because
Yeah.
I was like, I love this song, and then I'm like, I have horrible taste in music.
Oh my
So
God.
I don't know if that is a
A
guilty
few
pleasure.
episodes back, that was Ben's guilty pleasure song.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Was it really? That's awesome. Yeah, I love that song.
I'm always ashamed of my guilty pleasure choices because I should be confident enough that no, it's fine.
I
love that
know.
I think Todd Rundgren produced that or something, or had something to do with it. I want to say,
Oh,
but I
really?
think that's
Yeah.
also a one-hit wonder. I think the
Yeah.
New Radicals. Yeah,
Yep.
Yeah.
It's a good
Huh.
song.
yeah,
I
it's a
think
real
it
good
is.
song.
Yeah,
Don't give up.
Oh my gosh. Well, then I heard my kid playing it, and because I always played it in private, like Ben said, like we don't share this. You play this later, and then I was like, is it? And it coming from the bathroom, and I was like, hey, are you playing New Radicals in there?
Wait a minute.
Like, you know this song? And I'm like, oh my gosh. And then
That's
I went
awesome.
back to when they re-released what was the roller coaster? What was that song that was really popular when my mom was a kid, and then they re-released it in the 90s, and she knew all the
Roller
words.
coaster.
No, was it?
I
No,
blah, say blah.
no, it's not Gangster's Paradise. Or was it? What was it? No.
Roller
It was a
coaster.
rap song. No. Cool in the Gang?
Oh.
Was there?
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to what we like to call around here Mad Libs with Jess.
Let's go. Do they say the word roller coaster in
Yep,
it?
yep.
No, it's not roller coaster. I feel
Okay.
like there's maybe roller skates. Maybe there's roller skates in this song. Maybe it's not roller coaster.
Melanie, brand new key. Melanie, roll.
No.
Okay.
But it was a rap song that was popular, and then they redid it in the 90s. Can you help me? Did Cool in the Gang do that? Can you guys help me?
I'm not up for this.
Well, I can't get roller coaster out of my head now.
I know.
Yeah.
See, I always throw like my first word. We will get to and figure out why I said that, but I can't remember.
Yeah, it'll make sense when we find out what it is. It goes, oh, yeah, that's.
You guys have, Chip, do you have a guilty pleasure so I can look this up? I'm gonna find it.
Yeah, I don't know if it's a guilty pleasure or not, other than I don't care for anything by the Beastie Boys that were their hits. Okay,
Oh.
but they have a song called "I Don't Know" off of "Hello Nasty." That's absolutely, I just love it to death. Is someone calling?
I think that was just.
Yeah.
What do you like about it?
It's because they kind of did the music business backwards, because they didn't know how to, obviously they didn't know how to play their instruments or anything in MTV, and you got to fight for your right to party and all that. And so then through the years, they finally learned how to write songs and play instruments. And Hello Nasty's a bunch of songs that they did that way. And I Don't Know is on that album, and they use it a lot on the Beastie Boys documentary. I think it's on HBO right
Okay.
now. And
Yeah.
it's really I really like that song.
Well, that's awesome. I like that
So,
you
yeah.
found a Beastie Boys song that works for you.
Yeah. So did you like the Beastie Boys and the whole fight for your right? No. Oh, okay.
Well, I like more of like, hey ladies, get funky. Like I love that, and
the Bloodhound Gang, stuff like that. Hooray for boobies, things like that.
I did a music video to a Beastie Boys song. I can't remember. Oh, So What You Want. I did a video to that. When I was in high school, me and my friends are just every day with a video camera making videos. We did a video to Tramp by Salt and Pepper. We did a video to Beastie Boys. I have so many.
I know. We have
you're
my best
you're her
friend Justin
hero.
and I did the exact same thing.
Yep.
We have countless videos. We would dress up and do each other's makeup, and we would be in the yard. And the best video that I ever recorded personally was she was in the video, and I think we were doing Bjork songs that day, and she's like getting really into it, and she's in the backyard, and her brother, who was 2 years older than us, comes running behind her. She chases him. They end up in the yard punching each other, and I just was like rolling. I'm not cutting away. Oh my God.
Yeah, so many. We put one of them on our Patreon page. It's the one me and my friend Nancy did to Salt and Pepper's Tramp, and we do it. We go hard. We're very serious about it.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome.
All right.
You guys, I found the song. I found the rap.
Okay.
song.
Okay. What is it? What is it?
Lord.
Okay.
Roller coaster. Remember that was the key word the first time
I said
around.
roller coaster, and I also said what else did I say? I said Cool in the Gang.
Yes.
So ready? And I also said Gangster's Paradise. Okay. It's Rapper's Delight, not Gangster's Paradise. And it's the Sugar Hill Gang.
Gotcha.
Hotel, motel, Holiday Inn.
Yes. And that song, they redid it and released it, I think, when I was either like maybe in 8th grade. And we were in the car in the van, and my mom was there, and she just sang all the words, and I had never been more embarrassed in my life.
You're like, no, get out of my bubble.
No, and everybody was like, your mom's so cool, and I was like, no.
Speaking of that song, have you seen the YouTube video? I don't know who did it, bless their hearts. They took Brian Williams when he used to anchor the NBC News, and they have him editing him saying Rapper's Delight.
Yeah, they put all of the words together.
They put he says
right. I think I did see that
to the beat, and then Lester Holt comes in and says, I am Master Mike or whatever or something, and it's wonderful.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, guys, thank you so much for being on the show. Do you have anything you want to promote? Your podcast?
Gosh.
We don't know when we're going to do it again, but we could tell you guys that we are. Yeah. It is
next Tuesday at noon Eastern, hopefully live on YouTube.
Don't tell people that.
Well, I'm just saying. See, if we put it out there, then we have to do it. Maybe.
Right?
Right?
You're right. You're right. Yeah. And then Chick has this little radio show that he does. I don't know.
We've got enough listeners, so I'm tired of them. I can't do it anymore. I'm done. Tired.
What's the reach of the Bob and Tom show?
We have like 100 affiliates, and
I'm gonna say I can't wait to hear what he's gonna say because this is one of those. We have like 8,900 affiliates. No, we've got 100 affiliates here on YouTube every morning because of the which is I love the fact we're on YouTube live every morning, which is fun. I got to get my hair cut and stuff, and we're on Armed Forces Network, which is everywhere. Whatever country we might be invading this year. And,
that's cool.
Oh my goodness. The streaming services have definitely changed our reach, obviously. Right. And
we have a podcast.
And there's just it's endless. It really is endless in the ways that you can listen. But in the morning, we average somewhere between 4 and 6. It just depends on everything that's going on. Like right now, like our big time was 6 to 8 a.m. and now we've gone to like 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. is our big listenership. And so we have somewhere between 4 and 6 million listeners in the morning live. So that's
it was just pretty big, popular show. Like when all my friends started doing the road, they would always do the Bob and Tom show, which we don't get in Texas. I mean, now they can with, YouTube and everything. But I was like, is it just in Indiana? Like, where is this happening? And then my friend Erin is from Indiana, and she was like, people from the Bob and Tom show? Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It feels like a community. When you grow up in the flagship, like I did in Indianapolis, and then you are in Wisconsin or going somewhere else, and somebody says something about Bob and Tom, you're like, no, that's where I'm from. Like, that's my family.
Yeah.
And so it is it's bigger than it feels like, but it feels small because it's
But
home.
that's a good thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
For us, we like it to feel small, and I don't know
Right.
if it would change anything,
Yeah.
but
Right.
that's the way I think of it. So yeah,
All right.
it's worked so far, and we'll be back on this podcast sometime soon. I'm sure, don't you think?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for doing it with us.
You're welcome. Thank
Thanks
you,
for
Ben.
having us.
All right. Well, hang in here. I'm going to let you just listen to my read, and then we'll say goodbye again, because I want you guys to hear this. Next week, we are back to the Patreon voting. So we let our Patreon members pick every other song that we cover. They will be voting on these 3 songs from Diane's all-time favorite band, Depeche Mode.
All right.
They will be. So Ben, we had talked about certain 3 heroin songs, but I kind of changed it up to 3 different genres. So I'm going to have them vote on Never Let Me Down Again, Personal Jesus, and Everything Counts. So we're basically going drugs, faith, and corporate greed. We're going to see what they want to hear. And we will be joined by comedian and one of my best friends, the hilarious Sara Talamash.
That's awesome.
Oh, she's great. Yeah, Sara with an H, right?
Yes.
She has an H.
Yeah, she I just actually, so I book Bob and Tom now, and I just got a big
package?
promotion email thing, about her. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's Diane's friend.
Well, her album just dropped. Her album is called Voluptuous Boy, and it's very funny. And it beat out Weird Al for a second. He got bumped, and she was #1 on the charts for a second.
That's awesome.
Oh, that's cool.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow. Okay,
She's
that's
very, very funny. She's the wife of Joe List, if you guys know that. So what a power couple you got there in comedy.
Oh, yeah. Joe's funny. Yeah.
And so Sara and I, grew up loving Depeche Mode and go into there's a club here in Texas in Houston called Numbers on Friday nights, just plays 80s new wave. And so it's going to be fun talking to her about some Depeche Mode, because that's our jam. That's our thing.
That's awesome. Cool. I can't wait to hear that one.
All right. Special thank you to Chuck Savage and Eddie Hawkins for our amazing intro music, and to Sara Wessling for the Guilty Pleasures vocals. If you would like to support the podcast, you can join our Patreon for $5 a month at patreon.com/rockthecashbar. With that $5, you will get early access to each episode, koozies, stickers, candy, and the chance to vote on every other song that we cover. We have a Spotify playlist of all the songs we cover, including the Guilty Pleasure songs. It's searchable on Spotify, or you can find the direct link on our website, rockthecashbarpodcast.com. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. New episodes every Thursday. Please, if you can, rate and review. It really helps us out. Thank you guys so much, and we will see you next Thursday. Thank you, Chick.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
See you guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye.